Hey everybody, how you doing? Chip Towers here from Dog Nation. Welcome back to my humble abode, my humble office, for another episode of Towers Take, brought to you by Marco's Pizza, voted America's favorite pizza company. And for me, my favorite pizza. Visit marcos.com for authentic Italian pizza delivered straight to you, just like they deliver it to me every week. And I have already consumed my Marco's Pizza. You don't have to look at me eating it live on the air tonight. But I hope to make you hungry just by the very mention of it. And speaking of hunger, Georgia getting ready to start preparations for the Rose Bowl. Number 3, Georgia taking on number 2, Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl in the semifinals of the college football playoffs. Alabama and Clemson in the other semifinal. I will be heading out there on the evening of December 26th so that I am on the ground and Seth Emerson will be on the ground on December 27th when they have the Rose Bowl news conference in California. I know y'all feel terrible for me having to get out there so early after the holidays, but that's when it all starts. The Bulldogs will be showing up. Now, they don't come in, on one plane like they used to many moons ago. They fly in from everywhere, wherever they've been for the holidays. They will be gathering there on the 26th, and they will be getting their preparations there on the 27th. Georgia's preparation schedule here in Athens still a little bit shaky right now. It sounds like they may get started this weekend. Everything's tentative. I don't want to get ahead of the game. I'm not sure what Claude Felton's giving me. He sent us out a schedule but he had all over it, tentative, unconfirmed, which is the way these things kind of work. Everybody, the early signing period has really thrown a wrench into everything. Let me get your comments going on here. As soon as I can. There I am, so that's a good sign as I can see me. Okay, and it looks like some of you guys are lined up on here. So let's see your comments here. Hello, Santiago Diarn. Yes, I am going to Hollywood, he says. And isn't that just fitting? Rereading Watkins says, go Dogs. A lot of that right now. John Wilson wants to know, all our receivers are good? Yeah, I think so. Say it again. Chris Radford wants me to say it again. Georgia is in the Rose Bowl. Isn't that incredible? It really is. So let me finish with some preliminaries. Hello, Jeremy Wiley. Thanks for the tree. You like my prop? Yeah. It's not the only tree, but it is the only tree in my office, and that's there just for you. Hello, Patrick Neesmith is in Richmond Hill, where he spends a lot of time. Johnny Mokel. When are the 2 games going to be played before the big one? On January 1st. The big one is on January 8th in Atlanta. What's up, Jake Frigo? Injury updates. Don't really have one, Justin, because what I was talking about. Let me get this preliminary stuff out of the way. The team is getting back together. Now, Oklahoma getting a head start. Not necessarily. They are practicing tomorrow in Norman, Oklahoma. And guess who's going to be there? That's right. I have to leave tomorrow morning very early. I'm going to sleep as soon as this is over. In fact, I may fall asleep while we're doing this. Hopefully you won't. But I'm heading to Oklahoma tomorrow. Going to Norman, Oklahoma. For the first time in my life. Jackie Mullins wants to know about Natrez. Natrez ain't going to play. That's not officially from the team. That's officially from Chip Towers. Ricky Walton wants to know if are there any big-time receivers coming in. That's interesting. So I'm starting to just dip my toe in the waters of the recruiting scene. I try to keep my feet out of it as long as I can. Jeff Sentell has a good handle on it, but Georgia's still seeking some big-time receivers in this 2018 class. I'm going to get to your question in a minute. For some reason, it's only showing me one at a time. So if I miss you, just keep repeating your question. I'll get to it as soon as I can. Hello, Heather Esco. Jeff Sentell is tuning in, y'all. So he'll. But what I was about to say regarding recruiting, and speaking of Jeff Sentell, is that they're still looking for some big time receivers in this class. That said, there are big time receivers in the 2019 class. Georgia has two, I think, of the top 5 or top 10 or whatever. Jeff can tell you about that on Wednesday nights or whenever you'll hear from him next. Brian Wright wants to know what's with Gibbs. Nothing's with Gibbs. Gibbs is being what most freshmen are, trying like heck to get on the field and having a hard time doing it. Hey, but let's be happy for D'Angelo Gibbs' cousin, J.R. Reed, who's been a great find. Thank you, Jeff. That's special. Jeff likes my tree, too. There's actually a star up there. Can you see? Hey, starry, starry night. First star I see. What's the star thing? Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree. Will we get under the 85? John William Adams. Yeah, you will. That always has to happen. And you will. It's tight right now, but these things tend to take care of themselves. And who knows what's going to happen. Joshua Churchwell likes Trey Hill. Everybody does, as far as I can see. Debbie Humphreys just says LeCount. Richard LeCount. I love him. Or LeConte, as there's a terrific backstory on Richard LeCount. If you can Google up Richard LeCount and Next Generation, he's from Liberty County, and there's some great stuff about his family and a connection to LeCount Hall at the University of Georgia. Read about that. I got to revisit that soon. A lot of questions flying in here. Brenton Cox, recruiting. Let me tell you, this early signing period is having way more of an impact than any of us anticipated. And I'm not just talking about journalists. I'm talking about coaches. Georgia's early signing period is going to be huge. Defensive end, decommit. Oh, man, I can't keep up. Let me see. Let me turn this thing the other way. Maybe I can get more of your questions that way. See if that helps. Ooh, yes. So I had it horizontally, and hopefully it doesn't fall down. But I get many more of your questions now. Why is the media only concerned about the Dawgs stopping Mayfield? Says Nicole House. That's a big deal. Have you looked at this guy's numbers? 41 TDs, 5 interceptions, 9 TDs running, I think. Georgia hasn't faced an offense this prolific at all. So he's a big deal. Now, the counter to that is Oklahoma's defense has to stop Georgia's offense. Seth Emerson had a nice scouting report on the Oklahoma defense. He is doing a series called Scouting the Sooners. And, I think Georgia's offense is going to be somewhat of a defense for Baker Mayfield. But, look, Brandon Wimbush, Jarrett Stidham, this offense is better than anything Georgia's seen. That said, I think Georgia's defense is better than Oklahoma's has ever seen, and their offense may be better than they've ever seen. So all of that will be in there. Bill Sanders, posting under the name William Sanders, has a great question. Great guy, journalist, writer, author of a great book called Stating. Wants to know best UGA team you've covered. And he says, I'm the best in the biz. Thanks, Bill. That's nice. He'd probably be the best in the biz if he had my job. I'm lucky with the job I have. This is probably the best team I've covered. 2002 was a great team. Still can't believe they lost. And actually, that 2014 was pretty stinking good, too. I did not, as old as some of you guys may think I am, I was not old enough to cover the 80 or 81 or 82 or 83 teams, which were all great. And 84, 85 was the first team I ever covered, and that was as a Cub reporter for the Red and Black. But that was a very good team. Actually, they watched them lose to Alabama at home on Labor Day night, first game I ever covered, and watched them upset number 1 ranked Florida in the first road game I ever covered, or neutral site game. Trawl Dukes, I'm not ignoring you, brother, and I'm not Jeff. Keep ignoring you. I'm sorry. Ask your question again, Trawl, and I'll try to get to it. Blair Dietz says Baker will get frustrated with Smith and throw 2 interceptions in the first half. That's a great prediction. Hope that comes true. Dalton Scott says, is Monty Rice going to fill the void left by Patrick's stupidity? He will, to some extent, but first that job goes to Reggie Carter, and Georgia is very well suited to have Reggie Carter. But Natrez Patrick was where he was for a reason, and that hurts him. That hurts Georgia. But he ain't going to play. I don't care what Kirby says. They have a I mean, I guess perhaps Kirby could be trying to wait to see if he gets out of it. If he somehow plays Natrez and gets around that rule, I'm going to disagree with Kirby about it. Now, look, you know, Kirby's got a job to do. His job is to try to win games for Georgia. They may be able to say that Natrez wasn't smoking pot. It wasn't his pot, wasn't in the car. You know, he's already had 3 strikes, and I am counting the one that he got cleared of before for this very thing. He shouldn't have been in a car with somebody smoking pot. I don't care what you say. Shouldn't have been leaving Athens, going to Atlanta that night, blah, blah, blah. You know, and look, I'm not jaded to this. I feel horrible for the kid. I got into that last time. So those of you who watched this last time, I feel really, really bad for Natrez Patrick, his family, all those who love him. I feel terrible for him. It's awful. Going to miss the Rose Bowl. He should miss the Rose Bowl. But I think it'll be a mistake if Kirby circumvents the rules and the handbook and everything that's there to guide them. This kid needs help. And I think he can still have a flourishing career in the NFL if he gets a handle on all this. It's against the law. I don't care what your attitude is about it. It's against the law. It's against NCAA rules. So, you know, there you go. I hate it for him. Willie Toombs just saw the decommit from Javon, whose last name escapes me here. I'm sorry. It sounds like one of those that Georgia moved on. I don't know. I know that's what it sounds like all the time. But he was the lowest rated guy in the class, according to Centel. And Georgia's recruiting some other linebackers. Hello, Christopher Comer, Scotty Kirkpatrick. Do you think Sony and Chubb will rush for 100 yards or better against Oklahoma? I think one of them will at least, and I think if they do, Georgia wins the game. Yeah, Heather Esco is agreeing with me about that. I've seen a lot of mad faces here. I don't know if your mad faces are about Natrez. But look, man, the rules are rules, you know, and he's gotten a lot of chances. And I say this with a sympathetic heart and an empathetic heart. I've been in trouble like that too, particularly at that age. And, you know, kids don't think straight. They don't think anything will happen at that age. And I hate it for him. I mean, you know, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Hello, Jeffrey Tucker. Michael Grizzle is here. What do you say, Mike? It says, I hope we be champions. Justin Klein, word on the new linebacker coach. I don't have any on that yet. We're in the silly season, guys. There's a lot going on away from the field right now. There's the coaching stuff. Hey, there's these juniors that are, you know, being evaluated and looking to see if they want to turn pro. There's the seniors who are trying to acquire representation for the NFL draft. So there's a lot going on right now. Georgia will reconvene in Athens. They're doing final exams, if I'm not mistaken, right now this week. And then once we get out of final exams, Georgia will practice. And then all the coaches, whether it be Riley on the Oklahoma side, Smart and his staff, are all trying to balance the early signing period. These guys are going to sign on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And by every indication I get and everything I'm hearing from Jeff Centel, Georgia's going to have a lot of players sign in that early signing period. This is changing the face of recruiting, guys. Sort of like basketball, where everybody signs in the early period. Guys are sort of racing to lock down their letter of intent, you know, their place on the team. And, Yeah, so Hitman Arms Hickman. I love that name. Wants to know with the defensive back getting in trouble. There's reports at Dog Nation and all over the place about what Latravius Brenny did, or Latavius. Apologize, from Hialeah, Florida. Forgery charges, felony charges, I think, are first degree. So these are serious, and those tend to get you off the team. But I don't know. We'll see. But that's not good news. Justin Klein, y'all read what he said on there. I'm not going to repeat it on here. It's kind of funny. Guy's got a problem, man, and I hate it for him. Zachary Cox wants to know, do I think that Fromm will be able to hold up his end of the pass game? And which receiver do you think will be the playmaker? Here's the thing. I like Georgia's receivers. I've said this, and I like Jake Fromm. I actually did shortly before I came on here, one of the things that cut me close on time, I was doing an interview with a Oklahoma City radio show, and they, I wanted to know a lot about Jake Fromm. His story is slowly starting to get out there in the national landscape. It's a fantastic story. And, he's made a believer out of me. So I think Jake Fromm will play well. I think this Oklahoma defense is not going to be nearly as good as the Auburn defense he just faced, right? On a neutral field, which I'm going to be interested to see if it is much of a neutral field. I'm hearing again that a lot of Georgia people are heading out there. Let me see here, by a show of thumbs or smiley faces, or however you like to express yourself, if you're going to the Rose Bowl. Because I'm hearing a lot of people are making that trip. Again, this is another bucket list there. There's the man, Jake Fromm, on your screen. Just did a terrific job for Georgia this year. Hope you saw my piece earlier this week. I had to revisit Fran Tarkenton. I know some people roll their eyes at him. Lots of thumbs up coming here. Yeah, a lot of people are going out to Pasadena, and they're finding a way. All kinds of cool trips. I'm going to have a travel story probably next week, because I'm heading to Oklahoma tomorrow to get a look at the Sooners. And but there's a lot of cool travel packages that are coming up. People are flying to Vegas. They're flying to San Diego, other parts besides LAX, to lower their trip, busing from other places in. There's some terrific stuff out there. Jerry Lloyd points out that the Rose Bowl field has been resodded. One guy I need to visit with, this is interesting, that Georgia will have some insight on that field, because their grounds guy just came this past spring from the LA Coliseum. He was there. His name escapes me again. I wrote about him in the preseason. Hello, Anthony England. Welcome. Corey Jones asked a great question here. Do I think that Georgia would be playing in the Rose Bowl if Jacob Eason were the quarterback? I'm going to say no, with all due respect to Jacob. I like Jacob. I think he's a great guy. I don't know whether he's going to be around or not next year. I doubt it, but he hasn't told me that. But the bottom line is Jake Fromm is a special kid and played special. And I'm not sure. Kenny Dickerson wants to know if there's any news on Justin Fields. There's no news per se, but I do have to say I did talk to somebody this week who is connected with that, who tells me there's nothing to worry about on the Justin Fields front, that Justin will be here. And maybe even as an early enrollee. I don't know. Again, I'm not your recruiting source, but I do hear good things about Justin Fields. Let's see. Hal Love. Hal, I didn't realize you were of that age. He says he remembers listening on the radio when Fran was playing for the Dogs. DGD, damn good dog. Well, that's terrific. And Fran calls me back. Hey man, I like talking to him. He's a Hall of Famer, and I appreciate his opinions. Adam Smith wants to know who will replace Roquan Smith next year. You're assuming he's leaving. I'm assuming he's leaving too, and that's no knock on Roquan. He's a highly rated dude. Yeah, I think Monty Rice and these young guys, certainly Nate McBride. Georgia's recruited well at FSU. Tay Crowder played a lot against Auburn and Georgia Tech in the last 2 games. And Georgia's recruiting the heck out of linebackers right now. So I think they'll be well suited. USC Coliseum. I know Rose, UCLA. I may be wrong about that, about Georgia's grounds guy. But anyway, suffice it to say, Georgia's playing in the Rose Bowl for the first time. Patrick Neesmith wants to know, who do I think will play for the national championship? Why, Georgia and Alabama, of course, because it's been like a perfectly symmetrical season. And so based on the storybookedness that I've witnessed, I think it's going to be Georgia and Alabama. I do think Georgia will beat Oklahoma. I haven't decided on the score yet. We'll get to that eventually. Shane Cothran, I didn't see this, but says Fields tweeted to Trey Hill Monday, "Welcome to the family." So that's a good sign. I mean, he's committed to Georgia, so I don't think there's any reason he hadn't be committed. And I know Florida and others haven't stopped recruiting him, but why would they, right? What else we got here? Will they show the Rose Bowl game at Sanford Stadium? Good question. I don't know that. I will ask. CEL are full of great story ideas. It's worth asking. I haven't heard anything about that. There's also, like they did with the Georgia Letterman for the Notre Dame game, they have the capability of lowering a 50-foot screen in the indoor practice facility. Maybe they could have a gathering there if the stadium's too big. But that would be neat to find out. I will find out on that. Chris Radford says you can put your house on it. Justin is coming. So there you go. Put your house on it. Vegas might take that bet. I don't know. There's probably some odds on it somewhere. Christopher Cromer wants to know if you think Georgia has a shot, whether it's Clemson or Bama. Well, sure, yeah. Hey, once you get to here, you got a 25% shot right at this moment. Bernard Wynn is going to the Rose Bowl, by the way, yeah. But I do think Georgia got the best matchup that it could have possibly gotten with Oklahoma in the semifinals. I would have been less confident about Georgia winning, and I'm not real confident as it is. I mean, heck, it is the national semifinals. But I'd be less confident if they had either Alabama or Clemson in this game, regardless of where it was played. I just think those are really good teams. And hey, look, y'all, I think Bama's going to be very motivated. Having missed out on the SEC championship. Never count out those teams played one less game. There's some advantage to that. Mark Rover points out a really good thing. Yes, the scoreboard was taken down. Thank you for the West End expansion, so that won't be available. Paul Black wants to know what the latest is on Natrez. There is no latest. We haven't heard anything. But I don't expect him to be available to play. And if he is, I think it'll be controversial. I don't think he should be. And as I said earlier, I've addressed this several times. I feel terrible for the kid. I hate it for him. Anybody who's dealt with addiction on any level in their family, or wherever anybody close to you knows this is a tough thing. And these guys put themselves in jeopardy over and over and over again. So I feel horrible for the kid, but I don't think he should be able to play. I think he needs to go get help. I don't think he needs to be playing football for Georgia. I think he needs to get help and get ready to be a professional athlete, because I think he's that level of athlete. But it's already going to impact that, right? Yeah, Clemson's a bigger rival to Georgia than Alabama. I think, I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that 100%. It used to be. Hal was around when they played Clemson every year for a long time, and every other year, and right now I guess maybe every 4 years. Santiago D. Arn says, Chip, if you were the coach, how would you stop Oklahoma's offense? Good Lord. I am not a coach, and Mel Tucker and Kirby Smart are way better suited for that. I think one thing that they will do is they have the best linebacker in all of football, and they will spy him on Baker Mayfield, just like they did with Brandon Wimbush and Jarrett Stidham and the other quarterbacks they played. And that doesn't mean that he's trying to keep him from running. It means he'll be spying on what he's doing and reacting, whether to blitz, cover, or stay at home, as it were. I think Roquan's gotten really, really good at that. Probably something that hasn't been talked about enough. I think Glenn Schumann has done a terrific job with Roquan Smith, and I think Roquan Smith has grown leaps and bounds in terms of his understanding of the defense and what they were trying to do with him. So to the point now, that's what you're seeing the difference this year and last year is he's not having to think as much. He's just reacting. They're doing a lot of stuff with him, similar to when they had Alec Ogletree. And, you know, he's that level athlete, so you can do a lot of special things with him. But he's the best I've ever seen. He's better than some of those linebackers that Bama had, I think, in terms of pure speed. I mean, this is a 4-4 guy. This is a tailback playing middle linebacker, basically. So when you have tailbacks on the other side, they ain't going to outrun him. You know? So I think he's, Nick Lurch says national press will be sick with 2 SEC teams. It doesn't fit their storyline. And that's probably true. But, you know, I think the committee did right putting Alabama in. I didn't think Ohio State should have been in. I certainly didn't think Wisconsin or any of those others. Randy Jackson says Mayfield runs a 4.8. We got him. Yeah, Georgia's speed is going to be unlike anything Oklahoma's seen. And I think, you know, everybody's kind of the narrative all year has been Georgia's secondary has been a weak link. We're down to about 5 minutes here, guys. So get your questions in. See you later. Christopher Cromer is moving on. See you, buddy. Scott Peterson says would have lost to Clemson except for Scott Warner. What a game. Yeah. Boy, that 80 year. See, that's different. A lot of people compared this team to the 1980 team, but there's really not a comparison. Maybe more the 81 team, which blew a game to Clemson with like 8 or 9 turnovers, and Clemson won the national championship, kind of like the Auburn game, but they were loaded that year. 80, you just kept winning, just unbelievably. The South Carolina game. They were replaying that. They had the George Rogers storied series on the SEC network. If you get a chance to call that up, it was a great game, and they had some great footage from that. Boy, it's amazing. Rex Robinson, way to go, Rex. A couple of 50-plus yard field goals, and he missed one that he wished he'd have had. Lisa Andrews said Roquan will handle Baker Mayfield like a rag doll. We'll see. He's good, though, y'all. Give him respect. John, I don't know what that is about. Thank you, Paul Black. Appreciate the compliment. Those are Dedrick Frazier say. Can't wait to see Roquan chasing down maybe. Yeah, I think this is an exciting matchup. Fantastic. You know, maybe the best offense gets the best defense. All due respect to Alabama, but Georgia's the SEC champ, so great matchup. Larry Jones says need to control our third down mistakes. Need to control mistakes, period. You know, as much as Kirby Smart likes to talk about discipline, you had 9 personal foul penalties between the Auburn regular season game and the SEC championship game. Got to get that under control. But Georgia's been great on third down, great on defense, period. And Roquan Smith, their number 3, is a big reason for it. Like the Cubs, will the big crew go to watch the Rams from Georgia? Are they playing at the same time? Or somebody I haven't checked into that. Thank you, Jesse. You like my tree? That's my set piece, right? I think we're getting close to a minute out here. So let me get your questions. I hope Georgia comes out fired up, says Kendra and Larry. Yeah, we're 1 minute out now. Can't afford stupid mistakes and penalties in this one. Good to see you, Kendra and Larry. Gonna miss Wims. I agree, Derek Tillman. Randy Jackson, this will show if our defense is legit. If everything, I don't think there's any question Georgia's defense is legit at this point. Brini got arrested. No kidding, Danny Smith. You can read a report on DogNation.com, and it's a serious forgery charge. So that's probably going to be walking papers for him. We'll see. How loved. Rex Robinson was the most clutch kicker Georgia had. Might have been, though. Kevin Butler was pretty clutch, too. And they've had others. So I'm going to wrap it up here. We're getting late on time. It's been 30 minutes right now. So let me wrap it up. Let me thank you to Marco's Pizza, America's favorite pizza company, for sponsoring this episode of Towers Take, as they do every Towers Take. Y'all, please visit marcos.com for authentic Italian pizza delivered straight to you. Their pizzas are great. You can find them everywhere now. They're popping up all over, and I love their pizzas. They're great, and that's no kidding. You can get some good deals if you just tell them you've watched the show. Again, I'm Chip Towers with Dawg Nation. You can read my stuff, Seth Emerson, Jeff Sintel, and all of the Dawg Nation family on dawgnation.com and on your Dawg Nation app. Rose Bowl coverage out the wazoo. And I'm going to be in Norman, Oklahoma tomorrow. So tune back in and see what I get there. I don't know what I'm going to get. I've got some access, though, and I'm getting there as quick as I can. Delta was ready when I was, so I appreciate that. Thanks to them as well. Thank you to everybody who comes on here regularly. We're going to wrap it up for now. I'm Chip Towers. This is Dawg Nation. This is Towers Take, brought to you by Marco's Pizza. Thanks for hanging out, y'all.